mantras of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says one must rely on the divine, and yet to do some enabling sadhana, the divine gives the fruits not by the measure of the sadhana but by the measure of the soul and its aspiration. Also, worrying does no good. I shall be this, I shall be that, what shall I be? Say, I am ready to be not what I want, but what the divine wants me to be. All the rest should go on that pace. With love and blessings, says our Lord, Sri Aurobindo. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo about our Divine Mother. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, there can be only one solution for struggle: to recognize the feelings for what they are, unregenerated moments of the old vital nature, to reject these vital suggestions as suggestions of the adverse forces that want to push you out of the straight path. If the mind of the sadhak supports these vital moments, if any part of his nature accepts and cherishes them, then so long as he allows them to do so, he cannot get rid of the struggle. All these suggestions are very familiar. They are always the same, both in expression and substance. The reactions too are always the same, and their very nature is sufficient to show the source from which they come: disappointment of unsatisfied desire, despondency, discontent, unhappiness, the sense of grievance and injustice, a revolt, a fall to tamas, inertia, because the vital being refuses participation in the spiritual effort unless its egoistic demands are conceded. Dryness, dullness, cessation of the sadhana. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the same phrases even are repeated: no life in this existence, suffocation, limitation, airtight compartments, and all this simply means that the lower vital nature or some part of it is in revolt and wants something else than the divine truth and the tapasya that leads to the supramental change. It refuses to give up ego and desire and claim and demand or to accept a true self-giving and surrender, while yet it feels the pressure on it to transform itself into an instrument of the divine life. Our Lord Aurobindo says, it is this pressure that it calls suffocation. The refusal to let it expand its desires and make a big place for itself, it calls limitations of the being. The calm, purity, collected silence which are the basis of the tapasya for the supramental change, this is what stigmatizes as no life. Right rule and insistence on self denial, self mastery, and restraint from claim and demand are what it calls airtight compartments. And the worst suggestions and dangerous deception come when the spirit of demand and desire is dissimulated in a spiritual garb and takes a form which makes it seem to the sadhak a part of the yoga. Our Lord Aurobindo says, there is only one way of escape from the siege of the lower vital nature. It is the entire rejection of all egoistic vital demand, claim, desire, replacement of the dissatisfied vital urge by the purity of psychic aspiration. Not the satisfaction of these vital claimers, nor either an ascetic retirement is the true solution, but the surrender of the vital being to the divine and a single minded consecration to the supreme truth into which desire and demand cannot enter. For the nature of the Supreme Truth is light and ananda, where desire and demand are there can be of no ananda. It is not the vital demand, but the psychic urge that alone can bring the nature towards the supramental transformation. For it alone can change the mental and vital and show them their own true movement. But constantly, the vital demand is being taken for the psychic aspiration, and yet the difference is clear. In the psychic aspiration, there are none of these reactions. There is no revolt, no justification, for the psychic aspires through the inner union with the divine and surrender. It does not question or challenge, but seeks to understand through unity with the divine will. It does not ask for personal satisfactions, but finds its satisfaction in the growth of the truth within the being. What it seeks and finds is not any indulgence of a vital and physical calm, but the true nearness which consists in the constant presence of the divine in the heart and the rule of the divine in all the nature. Our Lord Aurobindo says, the cry of the psychic is always, let the truth prevail, let thy will be done and not mine. But the clamor of the vital is the very opposite. It calls to the divine, let my will be thine. Obey my insistences, satisfy my desire, only then I will seek thee and accept thee, for only then will I consent to see the divine in thee. It is hardly necessary to say which is the way to the truth or which the right solution of any struggle in the nature. Our Lord Aurobindo says, the only creation for which there is any place here is the supramental, the bringing of the divine truth down on the earth, not only into the mind and vital, but into the body and into the matter. Its object is not to remove all limitations on the expansions of the ego or to give a free field and make unlimited room for the fulfillment of the ideas of the human mind or the desires of the egocentric life force. Our Lord Aurobindo says, none of us are here to do as we like or to create a world in which we shall at last be able to do as we like. We are here to do what the divine wills and to create a world in which the divine will can manifest its truth, no longer deformed by human ignorance or perverted or mistranslated by the vital desire. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the work which the sadhak of the supramental yoga has to do, the work which the sadhak of the supramental yoga has to do is not his own work for which he can lay down his own conditions, but the work of the divine which he has to do according to the conditions laid down by the divine. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, our yoga is not for our own sake, but for the sake of the divine. It is not our own personal manifestation that we are here to seek, but the manifestation of the individual ego freed from all bonds and from all bonds, but the manifestation of the divine. Of that manifestation, our own spiritual liberation, perfection, fullness is to be a result and a part, and not in any egoistic sense or for any ego centered or self seeking purposes. This liberation, perfection, fullness too are not to be for our own sake, but for the sake of the divine. I emphasize this character, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. I emphasize this character of the creation because a constant forgetfulness of this simple central truth, a conscious, half conscious, or wholly ignorant confusion about it has been at the root of the most of the vital revolts that have spoiled many an individual sadhana here and disturbed the progress of the great general inner work and the spiritual atmosphere. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the supramental creation, since it is to be a creation upon earth, must not only be an inner change but a physical and external manifestation also. And it is precisely for this part of the world, the most difficult of all, that surrender is most needful for this reason. That is the actual descent of the supramental divine into matter and the working of the divine presence and power there that alone can make the physical and external change possible. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, even the most powerful self-assertion of human will and endeavor is impotent to bring it about. As for the egoistic insistence and the vital revolt, they are, so long as they last, insuperable obstacles to the descent. Only a calm, pure, surrendered, physical consciousness, full of the psychic aspiration, can be its field. This alone can make an effective opening of the material being to the light and power and the supramental change, a thing actual and practicable. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is for this that we are here in the body, and it is for this that you and other sadhaks are there in the ashram near us. But it is not by insistence on petty demands and satisfactions in the external field or an outer nearness pleasing to the vital nature and its pride or desire that you can get the true relation with the divine in this province. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, if you want the realization there, it is the true nearness that you must seek, the descent and the presence of the Divine Mother in your physical consciousness, her constant inner touch in the physical being and its activities, her will and knowledge behind all its work, thought and moment, and the ever-present Ananda of that presence, expelling all vital and physical separateness, craving and desire. If you have that, then You have all the nearness you can ask for, and the rest you will gladly leave to the mother's knowledge and will to decide. For with this in you, there can be no feeling of being kept away, no sense of a gulf and distance, no complaint of a unity that is lacking, or an empty dryness and denial of nearness. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, a time comes when, after a long preparation of the mind and vital being, after a long preparation of the mind and vital being, it becomes necessary to open also the physical nature. But when that happens, very often the vital exaltation, which can be very great when the experience is on its own plane, falls away, and the obscure, obstructive physical and the gross material consciousness appear in its unrelieved inertia, tamas, stupidity, narrowness, and limitation, an inability to progress, doubt, dullness, dryness, a constant forgetfulness of the spiritual experiences received are the characteristics of the unregenerated physical nature. When that is not pushed by the vital and not supported either by the higher mental will and intelligence. This seems to be in part what has temporarily happened to you. But the way out is not to excite the physical by any vital revolt and outcry, or to blame for your condition either circumstances or the mother, for that will only make things worse and increase the tamas, dryness, dullness, inertia, but to recognize that there is here an element of the universal nature reflected in yours, in which you must eliminate. And this can be done more and more with a surrender and aspiration, and so bringing in from beyond the vital and the mind the divine peace, light, power, and presence. This is the only way towards the transformation and fulfillment of the physical nature, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo.
Parfaitement vrai, sincère, droit et pur, subsiste dans cette année qui commence. Om Sarvadeva Mayimi Devi ब्रह्मेश विष्णुनमिता प्रणमामि सदा मीरा पद्मे पद्मालये शुभे सर्वतः